At this time, I'd like to turn things over to Steve Densham with the Vermont SBDC.
Okay. As I said, I'm with the Small Business Development Center, and I know we're here to talk about growth of your business. Now, you may say, well, I'm a startup, so what's about that? Well, you're starting from zero, so growing is pretty easy. And there is a great book I recommend, especially for the startups. It's called 0 to 1. You'll hear the term scale. Is your business going to scale? Yeah, you do. How many am I going to wind up selling and so forth, or services and things like that? But the theme that runs through this book is that the hard part is going from 0 to 1. So I really recommend. It's also good for businesses that are in business already and that want to jump the curve. And that's what we're going to talk a little bit about tonight, is actually jumping the curve. Those of you that are in business, you got yourselves where you are by being exceptional in what you do. And now what you want to do is increase on that. What does growth, let's just take a couple minutes and talk about what growth means to you. Like, for instance, what does growth mean to you? Why are you here tonight? What would make you go home and say, this was really awesome?
Making a bigger company with more employees and making more money.
Other people lined up like this. Does somebody have a different idea about growth?
So growing my business to not only sell retail, but also now get involved in manufacturing.
Manufacturing, okay, this becomes what's called vertical or horizontal integration in business, which gets involved in supply chain management. This is going to be a little bit like drinking water from a fire hose. So, we're going to go, I'm from South Philadelphia, so if I get talking really fast, somebody can just kind of go like this and go, like, slow down, all right? So, the thing about it is that the things that you talk about, and what's your name, ma'am?
Kim.
Kim talked to us about, it's maybe not just about the money, but there's some other things you might want to grow. Some of you may be familiar with what's known as the triple bottom line strategy. Kim, you're shaking your head. Can you tell the group a little bit about it, or?
Aimed for taking care of simultaneously instead of one single bottom line, people's planet and profit for prosperity.
Yeah, it's the 3 Ps. As this nice lady brought up, it's planet, people can also be community, and profit. For a long time, there was a juxtaposition there between, if you had a social mission, making a profit was against that. And as a lot of nonprofits found out, if you don't operate your nonprofit with fiduciary responsibility, then the close sign goes on what you're doing, and the people that you're trying to help, the mission that you're on, doesn't get served. So it's very, very important. Okay, so when we talk about growth, we'll talk mostly about the profit side tonight. Let's talk about, how do you grow? What are your thoughts right now on how you grow a business?
Market presence.
Market presence, and typically, and what would market present, expand on that a little bit? Would that be, putting things into effect to where you would draw more from the market, perhaps more market share?
Sure. Or just getting your name out there so your customers and clients are aware of what you're doing and why you're different.
So kind of a branding piece then, of what your message, of what your brand is. Are you true to your brand? You don't want to confuse the market when you're growing, okay? What else?
To have a good foundation already lined up, and have a good product and something that you're proud of, and have a good foundation piece, something to work from.
Okay. What else? Erica, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Back to hiring people. You get to the point that you can't do everything yourself, so how do you find the right people to do the things that they can do to do more in the business and areas that you're strong in?
Go to the head of the class, for one thing. Business comes down to, a lot of times, 3 things. You have an idea, the money, and the people. Those are the three things you need to either start a business or grow a business. Ideas. Everybody has a good idea. Usually it's about 11 o'clock when you're at night when you're in the shower. You have a great idea. What do you think is the hardest of those three things to put together? The idea, the money, or the people?
All three.
All three, okay. I said, which one's the hardest one? Come on. What do you think? People? Anybody else have a different idea?
It probably depends on the person, on whether it's money or the people.
Absolutely. You know, a lot of times people will think it's the money. I'm sorry, you can find money for any idea. Look at the things that have been invested in over the years. Pet rocks, the DeLorean. Though Elon Musk has got an idea on a different kind of car, doesn't he? But the thing about it is where it usually will break down is the people. The team that you have, that who's going to bring it to market. Going back to the growth question, any business, every single business that's in here now or that wants to be started is just three things, and I would challenge anybody in the room to name me a business that doesn't come down to three things, these three things. How many people, spending how much, how often? Toilet paper, Mercedes-Benz, vascular surgery. It's all the same. How many people spending how much, how often? Toilet paper, how many people? I hope everybody. Well, at least my friends. Spending how much? 75 cents a roll. How often? I hope often, especially if they're my friends again. Mercedes-Benz. How many people? Not quite as many. Spending how much? North of 80 grand. How often? Mercedes-Benz says their cars last 10 years. Okay. So you can see it's that. Now what I want to get to is that when you're identifying and evaluating growth opportunities, one strategy won't cover all three of these areas. And all three of these areas, you can grow your business. This gentleman here, I'm sorry, I didn't ask your name.
Bradley.
Bradley. Bradley talked about market presence, market penetration. What out of these three right here would market presence and maybe the marketing efforts, which would that have a tendency to use as a strategy to grow your business? Which one of these three areas?
The first one.
The first one, yeah. Who doesn't know about us? Okay? Those of you that are in business, one of the things, I don't know if the SCORE folks can say the same thing, but right now the hottest topic for about the last maybe year with existing businesses is pricing. Margins are shrinking a little bit, all right? And people will say, well, my customers, my clients, my market won't accept a price increase. I'm not here to tell you that price increase is the panacea for everything. Does anybody think that? Have you ever think that you've hit the top of the ceiling with your pricing?
Never.
No.
Never.
Why are you saying never?
If you're adding value to your customer, they would pay a premium.
Here, you're on. I'm taking your seat. There is no such thing as a pricing problem. There is no such thing. It's a value problem. How much you want for this pen?
5 cents for it.
Eric, how much you want for your pen?
$1.
Who saw The Wolf from Wall Street? Who saw that movie? Okay, you remember what the deal he does with the pen? He goes up and he goes, what's your name again? Hannah. Goes up to Hannah and he says, Hannah, I have a cashier's check with $100,000 with your name on it. but I need you to sign it within the next minute for you to get it. And the young lad he's speaking to in the audience says, I don't have a pen.
I'll buy
He
that
says,
pen.
he says, well, let me show you this wonderful implement right here. This is a pen, and what you'll be able to do is if you just slightly push it on the top, you can sign the back of that check. I want $10,000 for the check, for the pen. How fast do you write that check? You say, well, give me the 100 and I'll keep 90 and give you the 10,000. It's all about value. Okay, what's your name, sir? John. John, I'm your boss and I'm giving you your evaluation. Has anybody been through the annual evaluation? You know, how about an interview? What would your last employer say was your 3 things that, oh, stop it. Okay, John, you're my employee and I'm giving you your evaluation. And I sit here and I go, John, I just want to tell you, I don't know how to say it. I'm going to put this silly form to the side. You are the most valuable person in my organization, and I couldn't get it done without you. And I just want you to know that next year, you're going to be making $5 more than you made this year. What? You're kind of got a smirk. And he's got a raised middle finger, too. I don't know what that. He lives in Westford. Anybody, any locals in here? Okay. I mean, are you impressed?
Not terribly.
Why? No, I mean, are you telling me that $5 isn't a lot of money?
Comparatively, no.
Well, I'll tell you what. I got a little challenge for you. Go try and borrow it in a strange town. Get in your car, go to Plattsburgh, okay, park, get out and start going up to people on the street. I'm sorry, man, can I have $5 from you? If you don't get punched or slapped, what's the chances of you getting $5 from somebody? But you weren't impressed because it's not a lot of money. Because I haven't established the value. So the thing is, you can grow your business. How many people? If it's the same amount of people, all right, I just get more for it. And those of you that sit there and talk about what you absolutely don't do is do an across-the-board price increase. Oh, I'm raising my prices 15%. Take sports for $300. Because does everybody that's in business here, do you have goods and services that you make more money on than some of the other things? Huh? I mean, we all do, right? I mean, you can buy this pen at Staples. Aren't you really glad you came here tonight? All right? All right, this pen, Staples probably buys this for $1, sells it for $4. Great deal, right? Real money maker. Because by the time you put the Staples corporate overhead and corporate occupancy cost on top of this pen, it probably cost Staples $11 for this pen. Why would you sell something for $4 that cost you $11? Because it would be weird if you went into an office supply store and they didn't have pens. But Staples has got four kinds. They've got the ghetto Bics that we all, you know, the yellow ones with the 3 to 4 different tops on them. You can get the tacky one that's got the one you can dial your smartphone with. And then they have a Pentel, but that's it. Because their name of their game, they'd rather sell you a computer, wouldn't they? But if you went and go, I can't get a pen here, I can't get whatever it is. So in another book, I'm kind of like a weird reading type person. It's called Islands of Profit in a Sea of Red Ink. It's by a guy named Jonathan Burns, and he talks in there about the things called product and customer mapping. There are products that you have, that you sell, products or services, or a combination of the two, that you make more money on than you do on other items. That doesn't mean to say that you just junk all the ones you don't make as much money on, but you just concentrate your efforts on the ones that you're making the most money on, most margin on, okay? And the other ones are just kind of along for the ride. Well, at least you're buying something. Maybe I'll get you the next time. So, in growth, if I want to increase, if I want to grow my business and I want to see a growth opportunity, possibly your pricing strategy needs to be looked at to where you just start tweaking it. Easier to talk about it than it is to do it, I know. All right, this one. How many people spending how much, how often? Anybody got any thoughts on how often? Who here is impressed with the fact that your business has repeat customers? Do you know, how much that you're leaving on the table with repeat customers? First of all, your best customer is your best customer. But when you talk about marketing, that Bradley, right? When we're talking about growth and evaluating, advertising, okay? Advertising as a subset of marketing. People a lot of times talk about these things being different. They're not really advertising as a subset of marketing. When you advertise or you market, who are you speaking to?
The people who don't know you.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're everybody, or let's call it the general public. Now, yes, there could be some customers that you had 2 years ago that go, I haven't been over there in a while. Yes, there's that small one. Okay, so your marketing and advertising, you're looking at increasing the numbers of people, okay? What do you want the general public to turn into? A first-time customer, right? Does anybody disagree with that? I don't know anything about you. Oh, that's interesting. This guy's going to introduce 8-track tapes. Does anybody have an 82 Olds Cutlass in here? You're the only person that gets that, okay? So what you want to do is you want to turn the general public into a first-time customer. And as Bradley pointed out, your branding, your market presence. Oh, I don't know, let's give this place a try. What do you want a first-time customer to turn into? A regular and a repeat customer. This is where one of the biggest mistakes by a business is made. They stop there. Well, so tell me about your success. Well, I've got a ton of repeat customers. No, that's not where the sweet spot is. The sweet spot is right here. You want your repeat customers to turn into advocates. That is your unpaid sales and marketing team that is selling what you do and you're not in the room. You might also know that, what that's talked about now a lot of times is called crowdsourcing. Has anybody heard that term? Different than crowdfunding, crowdsourcing. It's exactly what it is. And this goes into some detail. There's a book that's called Raving Fans, and it's about 1/4 of an inch thick, and it's written, and there's probably a reason it's 1/4 of an inch thick. It's co-written by a guy named Dr. Ken Blanchard, who in the late 80s wrote a book called The 1-Minute Manager. Some of you may, which talks about it. What he said in that book is he says, hello, business people, instead of coming into your business and catching people doing something wrong, well, you're not working, we're not in the process. Walk into your business and catch people doing something right. And what Ken Blanchard talks about in the Raving Fans is the name of the game is not repeat customers. It's advocates. It's raving fans. I'm going to have to go get my oil changed. Oh, only one place to go, Oil and Go. Actually, that is good. Rob Remillard has, I don't know, I think he worked with SCORE. Rob Remillard's a great guy. Of course, Greg Beldock that has Jiffy Lube would say that's probably not true, but that's good. I know both those guys, so it's okay. All right, so this is right here. This is your advocates and your repeats. A restaurant doing $1 million, $1 million to $1.5 million, typically has 100,000 transactions a year. On this rate here, if I can just get Erica and Bradley to come in to my place of business, a quarter of a visit a month more. Steve, did you bump your head on the way in? A quarter of a visit? What does a quarter of a visit mean, really? One more visit a quarter, right? Okay. So if Eric and Bradley are coming in once a month, okay, and I can work to where I can get them to come back, just a quarter of it, one more time a quarter, that's 4 more times a year, right? With a $25 a head PPA, per person average transaction, okay? And let's say out of those 100,000 people that my offer or whatever it is, I can get you to come back. I can get, let's be, a little unrealistic, half of those people to do that. 50,000 people making 4 more visits a year times $25. Do the math. Now, question. Kim has never been to my bookstore. But Steve here is a regular customer. He's a repeat customer. He's an advocate. Is it easier and more cost-effective for me to get Kim to come try my business for the first time, or get Steve, who's already a customer, to just come back a quarter of a visit more a month? Does everybody think about that?
Work really hard for that first time capture.
And I read last fall, McDonald's, what their acquisition cost is for a new customer. That's somebody that's never been to McDonald's. Never been to a McDonald's. What do you think the number is that they came up with? $68. How did they come up with that? Some kind of voodoo algorithm, I don't know. But how many Happy Meals, how many $1, $2, and $3 dollar value meals do you have to get to start moving? I said to the general public, go to McDonald's. They come in, they're a first-time customer, $68 to get them to here. And then, I don't like it that much. Okay? But Steve, he already buys into what I do. And what I do is, on the Raving Fans piece, is I give him a better deal, but I make him come back. He has to come back to get it. Rather than putting out there BOGOs. Everybody know what a BOGO is? What is a BOGO? Buy one, get one. I'm not dissing on buy one, get one, but no. Steve, I'll tell you what, I really appreciate your business. You come back in, you can have 15 bucks off your next ticket, your next order. Whatever it is. First of all, does it cost me 15 bucks? What's it cost me?
Hopefully a third of that.
Yeah, just my cost of goods. If I'm a restaurant and I have a 30% food cost, you notice how I'm making the math easy for myself? Just to get him to come back, it just costs $4.50. 30% of the 15 bucks. Anybody ever bought an ad in the Burlington Free Press or 7 Days? Anybody here from the Burlington Free Press or 7 Days? Anybody know what's called a double truck ad? Full page. Okay. Full page ad in those newspapers cost you 1,500 bucks. Okay? And you don't know if it works or if it's staring up the south end of a northbound cat the next morning. It's in the litter box. Anybody here have cats? Okay, yeah, your staff, okay? No, so what's the point? Growing, evaluating, and our growth opportunities. Let's turn these people into advocates. It's cheaper and doesn't take it's less expensive. Cheap is not good. Okay? And it's easier. I mean, if I'm just throwing darts out into the market, I'm not saying that marketing and advertising and things like that are not important. They are important because you got to keep it fresh and moving. Does that make sense? So what I want to send to you here, that when you evaluate the business opportunities, take a look at which one of these three or combination of those three you want to focus on, because the promotional or the marketing efforts, the market presence or whatever it is, strategy that you use is going to be different. It's going to be different. Who in here is either planning to or is in your market the cheapest? And a hush fell over the crowd. I remember, anybody here from up in Franklin County? You know, Franklin County, when Walmart was moving in, well, it's going to turn into tumbleweeds. It's going to put small town America out of business. It's going to take Main Street and make it a ghost town. Talking to retailers, I mean, that didn't happen. Because what happens is, however, if you were a small retailer and you were going to take Walmart on price, you're out of business. The date's just not filled in yet. Amazon's the same way. You're going to try and take on Amazon price-wise, you're crazy. Customer engagement. If you take and increase your customer engagement, anybody here familiar with Small Dog Electronics? Okay. Do you go there regularly, or I mean, that's your store for your Mac? They're a client. Well, good. They pay? No, what's the accounts receivable aging on them? Okay, that's a whole other thing. All right, that's cash flow. Okay, Small Dog Electronics, and not violating any confidentiality in 2017, did $30 million in sales. Selling products that you can get 20 to 25% cheaper online and 6 miles away at Best Buy. They spoke to the market, whether it's if you already own an Apple, if you already own a Mac, if you have an iPhone, well, I don't know. I have no reason to change. And so you went in there, you like what they do. When you go into that store, they're glad to see you, even if you don't buy anything. Okay, so this right here, the advocates you will get out of this, and it's the absolute place that I would recommend that you start. And then, through product mapping You know, so I said custom product and customer mapping. Now, I know nobody in here has this problem. There are products that you make some money on. You don't make as much money. Maybe it's just a little bit above break even, but everybody agree with that, but you just do it, okay? Customer mapping is you have customers that you make little or no money off of and are the biggest pain in the neck to deal with. Does anybody have any customers like that? Or at least knows another business that does? Yeah, they're fired. Why would you do that? I don't make much money off of you, and you're a pain in the neck. I paid $68 to get them for the first time, and they don't pay you. You're in two businesses. They're running their business off of your money, so you're a commercial lender. I mean, really? Okay? So these three pieces right here, evaluate your growth opportunities in each one of these three areas. When you're in business, when you were in business, when you first started, did you decide what you think your customers are going to want?
No.
You didn't?
No.
Why? What do you do?
I own a sailing business,
Sailing like?
like traditional schooners. On the
Oh,
water.
wow. So you're real good at a dip, pull, jibe as opposed to an end-to-end jibe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
When whoever started the business, and if that's you, you sat there and you went, okay, I believe there is a market for people that maybe don't want to own their own boat, but they want to rent one or take a trip. No, so you decided, you said, I think they're going to want X, X, and X.
Exactly.
But however, I know where you can get some, the most fantastic advice on gear and bright work and stuff like that. Sea Dog. What? I'm an advocate. Aren't I? Steve's not in the room. You didn't know he was in the room. But I do. What happens next? What's the next step? You decided what the market wanted. You opened. Then you discovered what the market really wants. Trust me, in every single business I was in. This gig with SBDC is the only second time in my life I've ever taken a paycheck. And when you get done here, you'll see why, because nobody would hire me. So I just went in, I've always been in business for myself. And restaurant business, oh my God, we're going to do this. It's going to be awesome. This thing is going to sell. We're going to make a fortune on it. We couldn't give them away with a $100 bill stuck in it. But the things we had as a throw-in, sold through the roof. So we discovered what the customer, clients, market really wanted. And then you deliver what you discovered that the market really wants plus 1%. This is cleverly called the rule of 1%. In the book, Raving Fans, Ken Blanchard. And what it is that you deliver what your market has told you that they want, plus just a little bit more. Now you could say, does anybody challenge, is 1% a big deal? Anybody think that that's low, or? You're kind of going like, okay. Yeah, it depends on the business and what it is. But you got to remember this, you can't go over the top on everything. You just got that little nudge, okay, that allows you to deliver what you discovered.
Can you just elaborate for a second on exactly what you mean by 1%? So like, for example, if you decide you want to put, let's just say for your restaurant example, that you want to put like macaroni and cheese as like a side dish to this 32-ounce sirloin, okay? And you say, can't sell the 32-ounce sirloin, but everybody wants a mac and cheese. So then you're, say, going to deliver that mac and cheese as like a entree, dinner portion, right? Is that like, that's the flow that you're talking about? So what is the 1%?
Let me just give you an example, and that's a great example, and I wish when I was in the restaurant business, I had 13 successful operations across cuisines. I wish I could have gotten $15 for mac and cheese. It's just like wine today, a glass of wine you get $10 for. I had trouble getting $5 for it, and it was Chablis or Burgundy. It was terrible. But what we did, you'd come in a restaurant in Carlsbad, California, and you'd come in. The pricing was, I had the pricing when you would look at it, you go, yeah, all right. It's consistent with the atmosphere and stuff. And when you and your party sat down, you got a huge, an arc rock bowl. That's kind of like, almost looks like crystal, but you could drop it on the floor and it wouldn't break. Okay? With ice and heaped with peel and eat shrimp. Got put down on your table. Included with dinner. No, you couldn't have a doggy bag. Could you eat as much as you want? Yup.
So you're saying that that's the +1, or the one? Like,
That's the 1%.
Okay.
There's other things. Anybody, what is it, the Dog Team Tavern? Anybody been to the Dog Team Tavern? Yeah, the Dog Team Tavern. When you sit down, their version of black tar heroin is the cinnamon buns, right? Give me the cinnamon buns, and nobody gets hurt, right? That's their 1%, okay? And there's other things that you can do. A place in Denver, Colorado. Anybody here been to Denver or anything like that? A place called Mario's. That's where they sing while you eat. Everybody that's a waiter or a waitress is, one of the hiring pieces is that you sing. I could never work there. I can't carry a tune, But that's why I do Bob Dylan songs on my guitar. He doesn't sing either, okay? So just not to belabor on that, but that's basically what you're talking about, that 1%. And once again, that can be the building, that's the building of those advocates that gets people to try you that don't know about you. And also when, John and three of his, he's got his date and a couple of other couples. So where do you guys want to go out for dinner? Bing! Dooley's in Carlsbad would be at the top of the mind. You don't get the person every time. Oh, I've eaten there 3 times this month. Let's go somewhere else. That's fine. Sue Betty that has the Bluebird, she had a thing that she ran for about 1.5 years. Then she moved into doing something else with it. But if you checked in, if you were at the Bluebird and you checked in, you would get your appetizer would be on the house. So she did it for about 1 year, 1.5 years. She does some other things now to do that. But that's a great thing. But what you want to make sure of is that your loyalty program is not something that's just half-baked. How many of you have gone into places that you see the thing, put your business card in our fishbowl and draw and get dinner or get a lunch for 2 or get a lunch? The coffee card. On an offer, okay? Should there be an expiration date on it? Anybody have an opinion on that? Bradley's shaking his head, no.
Set a time limit.
Time limit, should there be an expiration date on it? It's same thing, time limit? Steve seems to think yes. Bradley says no. How about the rest of you? Come on. Huh?
Depends on the offer.
Why does it depend on the offer?
Because of the value to me as a customer and the cost and expense to you and your acquisition cost. Always my
If
idea.
you clip a coupon out of, let's just say it's a coupon, and you clip it out of the, I'm not gonna, okay, out of the Penny Saver, no, that's Penny Saver's West Coast, what is it around here, Buyer's Digest or something like that. And you come into my restaurant a year and a half later. Hi. It worked. Didn't it? You came. Why should I penalize you for it took a year for you to get in? Yes, sir.
But that goes against the how often. So if you put a expiration date, you might get them in sooner.
There
You might
is,
be able to roll them into another group.
and that's an excellent point. But what you do there then is you increase the value of the offer and you build scarcity into your offer. I mean, infomercials are notorious. The clock ticking down. That's right, and you've got 35 seconds to call in to get free shipping. If I don't call in in 35 seconds, first of all, if you call in after 35 seconds, you will get free shipping. You know there's no such thing as free shipping, right? It's included. But the market interprets it as free. A restaurant idea that we would do is Mother's Day is traditionally the busiest day in a restaurant. Okay? Everybody in the world is price cutting on Mother's Day. And places that don't do buffets decide to do a lousy one. And we're going to take Mom out for $9.95 and get food that a third world country would send back. Okay, it's so bad. Well, we just went, why do that? And what we did is in our promotions on it is we sat there and we said, show Mom you really care and come in and you'll have Dooley's regular menu with a special gift. And that special gift was for every mother that came in on that day, you got a certificate that was not a typical gift certificate, but is for you to come back for, we did it for both lunch and dinner, come back on us. Now, every mother, what do you think was the first question my general managers asked me? Well, how are we going to know if the lady that's there is really a mother? No, I'm serious as a heart attack on that. I went, really? First of all, they had one. But no, I said, you don't understand. If there's a little 9-year-old girl sitting with Hannah at the table, she gets one too. Every female, yeah, this is for you so you can bring your mom in. Do you think that got mothers in here? If we do things for your kids, does that resonate pretty well? And the thing is, when we did it, got to where we did it for lunches, first of all, that cost is a lot less, all right? And nobody comes in by themselves. Every single mother, young little girl or something like that, comes in with a group. I don't make any money on Louise. I just make a fortune on the other 3 people that came in with her. Thank you for bringing them in, by the way. Okay, so that's just an example of, but they had to come back. They had to come back to get it. I mean, how many times have you gone into a place and they go, you know, what's your favorite restaurant? Lunix, right. What's the restaurant in a 30-day period you go to most often? None. Did you plant, Erica? Okay. All right. So you sit there and you go, when you're coming back in, you say Lunix. So that's something that, of course, Conlin's pretty cheap though. But if you go out to the airport and you're dropping somebody off, if you go in and take a selfie with that cheesy cutout that he has in the airport, you get a free something. Okay, you've done it, haven't you? Oh, yes, you have.
No, I saw it last week.
Okay.
And I laughed at it.
No, but it works.
Yeah.
That works. And this is, what I want you to do is get out of this idea that it has to be more different people coming through the door. Okay, getting that idea of bring it back, and always remember that I don't care if you have a bookstore, a restaurant, chandlery supplies, or boat tours, sailing, things and stuff like that. Your only incremental cost difference is your cost of sales, pun intended. What kind of business are you in?
One of the things that we were thinking that we're kind of struggling with is opening more locations. So not necessarily like product or things like that, but we have 4 locations right now looking to.
What kind of business are you in?
Redemption.
Like a church?
Of the
This is a non-secular part of the program. Redemption, bottle redemption stuff. Yeah, okay. Okay, 4 locations. Why? Why did you open the second one? And then when you had the
we
second?
started with 2, and then.
Okay, did you buy a business that had 2? Is that what it was in? Where are you located?
Springfield, White River Junction, Bradford, Virgins.
Oh. Wow, that's all over the state.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
I have a 5 and a 3-year-old too, so we're crazy. And an ice cream stand, which is another thing I have a question about. But.
And you work really hard raising them, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, jeez.
But anyway, so we're at the point where is it cost effective, and do we have the ability with the people that we have to spread ourselves thinner, as in us, not our employees, because you can just hire more, but it's there's that value in the employee. You can't just hire anybody. And because geographically we're spread thin, we don't have the finances right now in order to hire, say, like a regional person, manager, I guess you would say, and kind of how you determine when that's something that you can actually do. Because you're going to take a hit financially, and it's determining how much of a hit you're going to take, because you have to hire that next person that's going to then be part of this team versus our employees.
Well, and that's great. There's about 3 or 4 aspects there. The one is, one of the hardest things in business is leaving that model. What is that model?
Doing everything yourself.
Do it yourself. Well, you're not by yourself. If you're schizophrenic, you always have an employee. I'm not going to do that. Oh, yes, you are. I was guilty. Okay, and moving to a model that's not DIY. Another book, Built to Sell, by a guy named John Warrilow. And the secret right here from going to a DIY to a scalable model is by making yourself irrelevant to your business. I was a Marine Corps officer, and we used to scout snipers. We used to have what is called the 1,000-yard stare. This gentleman in the back row just did it to me. What? Now, why? You didn't buy into that, what I just said. Didn't seem, well, okay, come on, talk to me. Make yourself irrelevant to your own business. You don't understand who I am. Steve's Auto Repair. People come here because of Steve. Okay. Anybody have a business like that? One, do you know how much you could sell that business for? 0. Because when I come in and I hand Erica a check for her business, and she goes, what is it, David Spade, bye-bye. I have to do one of two things. If I'm not buying myself a job, I got to replace her. And if there's not a team, if it's a DIY model, your business is worth nothing. So you make yourself irrelevant. Who's in business? Come on. Yes, ma'am. All right. This is quiz time. This isn't your annual review. But let's play a little role play here. Follow me on this. If you were going to hire you, why would you hire you?
Skills, expertise.
Well, but no.
And be
What skills, what expertise?
specifically.
Yeah.
The ability to provide for my clients that which they have hired me to do, and you're going to hire me because I have the expertise that you don't have.
Oh,
You're hiring
okay.
Your weakness because I'll be able to do what you can't, what you're not good at.
Expertise. Did I spell that right? And I'm going to get to what you're talking about here because that's very good. It sounds really weird at my age to say my girlfriend, but that's what she is. Actually, I'm her tenant, but at any rate, for 11 years. A retired K-5 school principal who has a doctorate in educational, organizational leadership and policy. It's exhausting. She's always trying to make me fit into a rubric. The Danielson. Oh, God. Of course, she tells people that she needs both of those things to be in a relationship with me, but she says, I'm not going to tell you which one I use more often, but I think it's the fact that she was a K-5 principal. She actually told me one time that we couldn't go out because it was a school night. I haven't been told that since the 4th grade, which was the hardest 3 years of my life. Okay, good. So expertise, fantastic. In your business, do you do the books?
Yeah.
Oh, guess what? You're fired.
Oh, good.
You're fired. All right. What industry do you work in? Are you general business advising or?
My business is called Declutter Me. So I work with clients to help them get out from under too much stuff. So it's a hands-on
Good.
service and consulting business.
Good. All right. So I'm going to expand my business. I'm going to get back to your location question. I'm going to expand my business, and I put an ad in the paper that I need a decluttering specialist with expertise. And you come walking in, hi, I'm here to apply for the decluttering management position. Okay, great. Well, your name, please, ma'am?
Ellen.
Ellen. So, how good are you at QuickBooks? I'm sorry. I'm here to apply for the management position that you laid out what the job requirements are. Or if you come in and I say, okay, Al, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself, and I want you to tell me how good are you at QuickBooks. Steve, I'm sorry. I'm here to apply for the management position of a decluttering expert. You follow me on this? Yeah, there are, in your business, there are Ellen things. Get rid of everything else. Anybody familiar with Tim Ferriss? 4-hour work week. He talks about $10 an hour jobs, $100 an hour jobs, and $1,000 an hour jobs. You want to work yourself into getting to where you're just doing $1,000 an hour jobs. I'm serious. 2 days a week, 2 hours each day, $48 an hour. Hire a bookkeeper, and then it frees you up to make decisions about what you're good at that you can grow your business. Okay, I got 5 minutes. Thank God, right? Locations. What you don't want to do when you're thinking about opening a location, the fifth one or the third one or whatever it is location number 1 and location number 2. What you don't want to do is open it up in such a way that you get transfer sales. We're doing $300K out of this. Let's open up that Milton location. Let's open up that Montpelier location. $250,000. All you got was transfer sales with double the overhead. Now, what you want to do is location 1, 2, or 3, and this is what you were talking about. And this is in, when you talk about marketing and so forth, if you can get the market areas to overlap like this to where the efficiency of your marketing, your advertising covers both of them. And you work then to give them their own identity within the brand, but not so you get transfer sales. Okay? And the other thing too is on that is if in their first location here, it was husband and wife plus 3 employees doing $100,000 a year, and you made $25,000. Again, don't hold me to this. Okay, fine. You decide we're going to open up a second location, or we're going to move to a bigger location. And that model is going to be husband and wife plus 5 plus 1 more machine, and we're estimating we're going to do $500,000. What you don't want to have happen, you don't want to see $200,000. Now, when you're going from 100,000 to 500,000, you pass through 200,000. But you don't want to get stalled there, okay? Because you've got the people and the resources to do 500, and you're only doing 200, even though we doubled our revenue, okay? With all this extra overhead, this 25 grand maybe turns into 15,000. You'd be better off. Make sure your flagship is fine-tuned and not all business models are scalable to second locations, okay? And the assistant principal is giving me the hairy eyeball. Okay, a lot of stuff. I'm going to stick around for a little bit after.